Hi everyone, today I really want to talk to you about all of the books that I read in the first half of the 2025. Today it's going to be a small mid-year check, what I've read, what I DNF'd, what I loved, what I didn't like as much as I hoped I would. So yeah, that's basically the topic of the today video, and I'm actually very surprised how many books I've already read, because I did not think that I will read this many books in half a year, and we still have a long way to go till the end of the year. So I am really excited how much more books I will be able to read. So today I will talk a little bit about every single book that I've read already. I will rank them, and in the end of the video I will name a few books or series that are my favorites of this year so far. I will talk about some books that I DNF'd, and you can try and guess what is my yearly goal was and is, because I have almost exceeded it already, and I thought that it will be a great amount for me to read that many books in a year. Honestly, to be honest, I never really tracked how much books I read in a year or in a month, but I kind of found a nice app to do so. So lately I've been pretty consistent with tracking everything, and I'm really glad that I am, because I kind of really enjoy it. I was never really a big fan of like bullet journals or something like that, but tracking all of the books that I read is really enjoyable to me. So let's move on to the books that I read this year, and starting off strong, we have Morning Star, which is the third book in the Red Rising series. I have the first book here because I didn't get from the shelf all of them. I finally have them in physical copies, and I am very glad that I do. I finally got my hands onto them, but it's kind of strange to have in my hands in the book this small, because I'm kind of more used to this type of books, and like, yeah, comparing to this one is huge. So yeah, I started off my year with reading Morning Star, and in a few months, I think in a January and February, I finished the series as a whole, and that was such an amazing start to the year. And this series is like one of the best that I've read this year. I said that I was going to be talking about it in the end of the video, but I can't hold myself. This series is that good. Yeah, I messed up the sides of the book. But this series is that good. It's definitely one of the best of this year, and it's definitely going up in the top my favorite books of my whole life. It's such an amazing series. I can't even explain it with words how much I love it. It's so what these books are about. It's a sci-fi series, and the first book actually has some elements of trials, but the second book and the rest of the series really picks on much more in-depth topics, and they don't really focus on the trials or whatever, so it's just like an element of the first book, but it's not really, I wouldn't say it's really the usual trials that we see in some other dystopian or fantasy series. So this series has such an amazing plot and so many cliffhangers. it's really hard to stop somewhere and go to sleep. You just constantly want to read and read and read and read more because it just captures your attention and does not want to give you back to your life. So I definitely recommend this series for everyone. I have a whole video about this series, so I don't really want to talk too much about it. So if you're curious about more of my opinions and emotions about this series, I would recommend watching that video. So the next book that marked the beginning of 2025 for me was Piranesi. I have it here too. Honestly, this book is so pretty. Like, this is the dust jacket, but here it is very pretty. Like, wow, this looks so good. Wow. And it's really nice when you touch it, and it's really pretty. It's like pretty minimalistic, I would say, but wow, it's so gorgeous. Like, that's definitely going to be like one of the best looking books on my shelves. But I am not wasn't really that excited about the book as about the looks of it. Maybe this book just wasn't really for me. It was very confusing in the beginning, and it has a lot of mystery elements, and I was kind of excited to find out all of the truths of this book, but I don't know, it just kind of wasn't for me. I definitely understand everyone who loves this book as much as I do, because I've seen so many reviews where people say that it's 5 out of 5 stars, a masterpiece, but unfortunately I can't really relate to that. And I actually don't really have like a huge complaints about this book because it's written really great, and as I said, I understand why everyone loves it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And honestly, if this book wasn't this pretty, I am not really sure whether I would have bought it and whether it would have been on my shelves. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to have such a pretty book on my hands because wow, uh, I am in love with the look of this book. So moving on, we have Mile High. I only read the first book in this series. Basically, it's like an interconnected standalones, so you don't really have to read them in order or read all of them. So as of right now, I read only the first one, but I will be reading it further when when I will be in the right mood, because I don't always read romance. I need to have a very specific mood to read it. So I'm just keeping those books for that time. When the time comes, I will have the books that I will most likely enjoy quite a lot. So, what this book is about? It's a sport romance, and it's really great. It's a book about a green flag man, a healthy relationship. It has also a lot of representation of issues with body image and insecurities, and that's really great because it's not only a romance book. It also touches on a lot of on a topic that is relatable to a lot of people, and that's really great. The only thing that I didn't actually love here is like the breakup trope to save the other person from whatever it might be. Like, I don't understand it. Communication is like the key in a relationship, and just breaking up to protect the other person, it's not really my cup of tea. But overall, this book is great, and if you are craving some romance, then that's definitely for you. Next, we have this Savage Son by V.V. Schwab. I also have it in physical copy, and it was a great book, but it kind of did not catch my attention as I hoped it would. This book has a really great concept. Basically, if like someone commits something evil, then there is a monster that is born because of that. And basically, our main characters live in the world where a lot of things are really hard for people because of those monsters. So yeah, it also has kind of like a Romeo and Juliet elements, but I don't know, it's really great. The plot is great, the concept is great, but I don't know what exactly was missing for me in here. But I did not enjoy this book as much as I hoped I would. I mean, I would definitely recommend this book for everyone, especially if you are like a fan of Romeo and Juliet or a fan of V. Schwab. Like, you definitely should give it a try because it's great. I don't have like a big issue with this book. I just wasn't vibing with it. It was great. It was like a decent 4 stars of 4, maybe 3.5 stars out of 5. But I don't know, it just didn't catch my attention as much as I wanted it to. Going further, we have Binding Satine and Keeping Satine. I loved this series so much. It's really dear to my heart, but it's really heartbreaking. If you consider reading this series, you should definitely check trigger warnings because there are a lot of like traumatic stuff and situations happening here. So if you can't deal with some of the triggers in these books, then you should probably not pick up it. But if you are prepared for everything that is going to happen in here, or you might see happening here, then you definitely should read it. It's such an amazing story of growing up in an abusing household and how it affects the life of the child and basically the whole life of the child. And we here have the whole family, which consists of 5 or 6 children. I don't remember right now, and don't want to count. And all of them deal with it differently. It's also a story about first love, which blossoms into something so beautiful. You know, no matter what happens in this book, my heart always warmed when I saw some Johnny and Shannon interactions, because I don't know, they were so sweet to each other, they were so understanding, and I just love them. They are probably my favorite couple in the Boys of Torment series. They are so sweet. I can't even don't even get me started on this. I also have a separate video about Binding Satine and Keeping Satine where I talked more about my thoughts on these two books. So if you are interested, you should check it out. Moving on, we have a Grindmon saga. I actually have only the first book because that's the only one translated in my language right now. But I've read the whole series. I've read the next 2 books in English. I was kind of intimidated to switch mid-series from my language to English, but it wasn't that bad, honestly. I pretty quickly got a grasp of all the meanings in the book. So yeah, I was really glad that it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. So moving on to the series itself. It's an amazing urban fantasy with 2 rival clans at the center of the plot. Honestly, when I started it, I did not think that the rivalry of these clans is going to be like such a huge part of the plot, but it really is. And if you love that type of stuff, that's for you. That's is definitely for you. This story is amazing. The characters are really complex, and you can really say for sure that the character is a good person because all of them make mistakes. All of them, without an exception. All of them make mistakes, and all of them make huge mistakes that can cause someone life or some other great damage. And yeah, everyone here has their own flaws and makes a lot of mistakes. This series also contains a lot of really sad moments, like really a lot of sad moments. I didn't think it would be this sad at some parts of it, so you should be prepared for it, especially in the third book, because wow, that book blew my mind away because I did not expect a lot of stuff that was happening in there. So definitely recommend it. That was such a nice read. Even though I gave the first book 4 stars and the second and the third 5 stars, because it's really a very introductive book, and maybe there isn't that much stuff happening in here because you just met the world and the characters and you should get to know all of it. So yeah, if you like kind of have a mixed opinion about the first book, I think you should give a try to the second one before DNF in the series or whatever. So the following series that I'm going to be talking about didn't steal my heart as much as the previous two did, and it's Reign of Shadows and Endings. I've read only the first book, and I'm not going to be continuing reading this series. The book wasn't bad. I actually quite enjoyed it at some parts. The problem that I have with this book that I don't like dark romance. Well, it honestly isn't even dark romance. I just really hated the attitude that the main male character showed to our main female character, and I know they are going to be together, and I just cannot handle it. I cannot handle it. Just no way, they should not be together in any universe. And that's basically the main reason why I'm not going to be continuing it. Because I am not really ready to be so angry at the male main character, and I don't want to experience that. So that's why I'm not going to be continuing it. But if you enjoy like a strong enemies to lovers, then that's probably for you. Moving on, we have the Dress of the Emerald Sea, and that is the prettiest book I currently have on my hands. Because wow, this is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the cover, the side, the back, and now the spread edges. Wow, they are beautiful. There are flowers here and flowers here, and the book itself, there are a lot of pictures in here. I am trying to find at least one just to show you the idea here. And there are a lot of pictures in here, and wow, this book is so gorgeous. Like, look at that. Just look at this. Wow, that is so pretty, and I'm very glad that I was able to get this book, at least because it's this pretty. Like, How can you not buy it? I think you cannot. That's just impossible to not pick this up. So this is a Dress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and honestly, it's such a great book. I've heard someone saying that it's kind of like a fairy tale for adults, and I definitely see the vision because I can kind of agree with that. But about of a very nice plot and nice characters and this fairy tale vibe about it. It's a very nice book for fans of Cosmere universe because there are a lot of things here that are mentioned, and there are parts of the other books of Brandon Sanderson. But even if you are new to Cosmere, I think that you would enjoy this book greatly because, as I said, it has a nice plot, nice characters, and it's just so nice to read. It's such a relaxing read in a way, and if you are craving something like that, that's something you should go to. Next up is Assassin's Apprentice, the first book in the huge universe of Robin Hood. I am starting my journey here and I am already loving it. This book is very slow paced and it's very character driven. So, if you are not a fan of it, you might not enjoy it. I didn't read the second and the third book in this particular trilogy, so I can't say what it's going to be like further. But even as it is, I really enjoyed this book. I love to slowly get to know our main character Fitz, and I understand that we are slowly moving to find out about the tragedy of his life, because I from TikToks I know that it's going to be a really sad story, but I am very curious about how the story evolves in the next books, and I am planning to continue reading this series as soon as possible. I already have the second and the third book, and I have the first book in the Madship trilogy. I think that's what it's called. So I am really excited to get to know this universe further. Now I am going to talk about the series that I'm currently preparing a separate video about, and it's the Aurelian Cycle, and The Fireborn is the first book in this trilogy. It's such an amazing series with amazing plot, amazing characters, amazing love line, and incredible dragons. I've never read books before that contain dragons, like kind of like a main characters, and it was such a nice first experience. Dragons in here, they are my love. They are really dear to my heart in this series, and when something bad happened to the dragons or the characters, I felt equally sad. Honestly, this series is so good. Once you start it, you just can't put it down. I think I've read all the three books in like a week. I couldn't just rest from them. I needed to read more and more and more and to know what happened next. So I definitely recommend this series, and you should look forward to the separate videos that is going to be coming about this book. Next, we have A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, and right now it's probably my biggest disappointment of the year. My expectations were so high due to all of the positive reviews that I've seen on the internet to previous books that I've read from V. Schwab, and they weren't met, unfortunately. The concept of Four Londons is very unique and it was quite well executed. And same goes for the magic system, because I've never seen something like that done in the fantasy series. But I don't know, I didn't vibe with the story. I did not enjoy how the plot itself was built. I don't know, the first book was okay, but everything that was happening in the second book, I don't know, I kind of didn't like. And I was also not the biggest fan of the characters. And considering that I've read two books out of the trilogy and I liked the second book even less than I liked the first one, I decided not to continue it. And I know I am myself very sad about it, but I can't do anything about it either. I just did not enjoy it the way I really wanted to. So moving on, next I've read Saving Six and Redeeming Six from Boys of Torment series. Honestly, I've put out those books for such a long time because I was terrified to read it. I knew it would be even worse than Biden sitting and keeping sitting. I knew it will be so much more heartbreaking and painful, and it was. I was so sure, but I definitely need to warn you that the main plotline of these books is addiction, is struggle with addiction. And if you are not okay with reading about something like that, that you probably should not pick these books up. But if you're ready for the journey, you will love it. You know, reading about the story of Joy and Aoife and their love and how they struggled for each other, and you know, just knowing that Aoife stayed with him till the very end, till everything was finalized, let's say like that, without giving out any spoilers. That's this story makes me speechless. Honestly, those kids, because they were still kids when all of the stuff was happening to them, uh, all of the stuff they had to deal with, not every adult would have handled it as well as I did. Going further, we have a rare standalone in my reads, because I usually read series. I don't know why, but I do. So the name of the book, it's Blood Over Braid Heaven. And first of all, I have to mention the magic system in here. I was really amazed how detailed it was. Not many books can say about themselves that their world and their magic system is as well sort of as in here. Here the magic is a power that has its own rules and laws. It's like basically a physics, but in the other world. Like it's actually treated like a science, and as you read you have tons of explanations of how every spell works and why it's worked that way. And it's really fascinating to see such a detailed explanation about everything, but at the same time it's a very tragic book about human ignorance of a lot of horrific stuff, just for the sake of living their, you know, comfortable life. And when you discover what actually happening in the book, you are very surprised, shocked, and disgusted about all the characters that are okay with that type of life of society. And this book is, it's definitely something you should read because it's amazing. I can say anything bad about it. You should definitely give it a try. Moving on, I read Furyborn. I love the concept of the story because we have two viewpoints which are centuries apart, but at the same time they are connected to each other. And that's really fascinating and interesting to see why and how they are connected. And I was really invested in both timelines because in first one I knew the result of it. I but I was very curious about how it gone to that point. And the second plant line is basically like a present time where everything happens. And yeah, they are connected and it's really intriguing. The characters were also really great. I loved reading about them. But with everything mentioned, I kind of wasn't as sold to this book because I didn't pick up the second and the third book yet. But I think I probably will. I think I probably will when the right time comes. So yeah, if you I would say if you don't really know what to read right now, give it a try because you might actually really enjoy it. And now we move on. Oh wow, my stack of books decided to fall. Now we have a huge book. So it's Words of Radiance, the second book in the Stormlight archive. It took me so long to read this book, but every single page of it is so worth the time. I can't even tell. This is such an amazing continuation to The Way of the Kings. This book evolved the world so much more, and I really love that in the first book we were kind of focusing on Kaladin's backstory, and here we are more focused on everything that happened to Shallan, and the story overall progresses so much. I just love this series so much. It's really hard to talk about it because it's such a huge world and it's so complex, and I don't understand how to explain it without spoiling anything and without talking for like hours and hours. So yeah, once I will read all of the 5 books that are currently out, I will definitely make a video about this masterpiece of a series. So everyone should read it. Like everyone, no exceptions. The last book that I've managed to read in the first half of 2025 is Malice, which is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. And first of all, this story has so many characters and so many paths. You can very much be pretty confused about all of it at the beginning, and I was really confused. I generally have kind of a complicated relationship with this series because after I finished the first book, I wasn't really sure whether I should continue it or not, but I did start the second book. And even as I was reading the second book, I was kind of not sure whether I'm on the right path, but I am very glad that I've decided to read the second book and I almost finished it. I have like a really small piece to read left, and now the story is so much more interesting. The characters, I love them all. No matter how much characters there is in here, I love them all. There are so many great characters and I care about all of them. So yeah, this story is really great, but you definitely should be careful at the beginning because it can kind of put you off a little bit and can feel kind of slow too, because you only get introduced to the world and to the characters and not really much is happening in the beginning, and you have so many characters, so you can get confused and decide to just DNF it and don't read it. But don't do it, just push through it and try the second book because it's really does get better. So now I am going to talk a little bit about all the books that I've DNF'd. There is not really that much of them. There are 5 books that I've DNF'd, and basically the reason why I usually DNF the books is that I don't vibe with the book like at all. I just don't enjoy either the story or the characters, and or just the story, the characters, they are okay. I can read 50 pages and decide no, I don't want to read it right now, and I just put it off. But my main issue with all the books that I'm going to mention is the characters and the plot. I just didn't vibe with it or did not enjoy some pieces of it. So I DNF'd them so that I will be able to read more of the books that I would actually enjoy. So the list of my DNFs are the Book of Azrael. I had such high hopes for this book, but unfortunately, it let me down, and I DNF'd it. The next one is She Who Became the Sun. Honestly, it just was really boring. For me, I read like 1/3 of the book and it was still boring, and I decided not to waste my time. Next one is Phantasma. Honestly, I read half of the book and nothing was really wrong with it, but nothing was really right. So I just decided not to pursue it and just leave it alone. And another one is City of Gods and Monsters, and my main issue here is like the relationship between main characters, because they were too quickly kind of like in love with each other, and the main female character, because she was kind of annoying and I didn't really want to follow her. So that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all of my DNFs. I'm glad there wasn't much more of them. So yeah. And now about my favorite series or books of this half of the year. So it's definitely Red Rising. I count it because most bigger half of the series I read in 2025. So it's Red Rising, the Aurelian Cycle, and I Words of Radiance and Greenbone Saga probably. Like those are my top picks. I've enjoyed them quite a lot. And as I said, Red Rising is like one of the best series I've read in my life. So yeah. And about my yearly goal and how much books I've already read. So my goal for the year was to read 32 books and I've already read 28. So I probably reach like around 50 to 60 books if I keep up the same pace, which I hope I will. So yeah, wish me luck with that. So I hope you had a great time watching this video, because I've prepared a lot and I tried to voice my opinions about all this book as great as I could. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a great time. See you next time. Bye.